Is globalization now about to go in reverse?
So, what I would say, John, is I think what a business person does is you know what you make and then who buys it, right? So I just got back from Africa last week. They need everything we sell. All over the world, they need what we sell. So you have to be in global markets. I think the essence of globalization had been changing long before Brexit and long before President Trump. I started globalizing in the 1980s, and what it really was shutting down factories here, moving them to Mexico for the purposes of having cheaper wages. That's ended for GE long ago. Now it's all about penetrating China, penetrating the Middle East, penetrating new markets, and you have to do it in a more local flair today.
So it's about moving people to
It's all
those
about
markets.
It's all about market development. And my global journey 20 years ago used to start in Washington, D.C. Now we don't really count on trade deals. We don't need trade deals to be effective globally. So we've kind of crafted what I would call a multi-local franchise that we can run, kind of in and out of 185 countries around the world.
Surely, if I looked inside your supply chain, the amount of goods which still have to cross borders within that, which at the moment you don't pay tariffs on, that would still matter, even if most of the final manufacturing is done
I would
locally.
make just a tale of tape. What I would say, John, is look, we're like a $22 billion exporter from the U.S. and we import 5 or 6 billion. We move subs around the world. There's two times in business when you really feel great. Like one is when everything's perfect. Everybody loves each other, everybody gets along. And the other one was when everything's in chaos, but you're better than everybody else. We can navigate whatever system is put in front of us. We would rather have big trade deals.
You think the world is moving a little bit towards the chaos version?
Oh yeah, no, clearly. But it was going there before President Trump. Really, John, this has been the global financial crisis, the role of China in the world. There's probably 4 or 5 things that have happened that are really seismic changes that have led to this Bretton Woods version of globalization kind of breaking down into being kind of more of a multi-local world.
So the Bretton Woods era of kind of free trade, all those things.
WTO and World Bank and all these things, the multilateral organizations. I think that was breaking down long before the incidents of the last 12 months.
Do you think that's fair? I mean, if you look at the way that jobs are lost, jobs tend to be lost by technology 9 times as much as through foreign competition.
Yeah.
You're a pioneer.
I believe in globalization. Look, I got back from Africa last week. When I go to Nigeria, our products that we make here, they're life-changing. They're solving global problems. We're investing in talent and people. It's amazing how all that changes, But I'm not a philosopher. Like I'm just, I kind of sit here and say, look, I think globalization is a good thing, but I also know that there's people that disagree. And the task for me is to kind of keep GE going forward on a global basis while still being a good citizen in the United States. And that's the task of business leaders in this era.
But if you were representative of America, the case would be that if you're likely to lose jobs in the future, or you have to cut jobs, it's what sometimes happens. That's more likely to be because of new forms of technology, because of 3D printing.
Look, I think technology you've had a confluence of multiple events, right? Technology has had at least as big a role as globalization. Most economists would say that globalization has created win-win situations. But we've got to deal with what's on the ground today. And my task is, since 2001, we've grown our global revenue 10% a year. I want to keep that going, but it's going to be without TPP. It's going to be with, kind of different dynamics on a global basis, and it's my job to keep us growing in that.
Do you think GE would grow faster if globalization was still in that first era you talked about with more free trade deals?
Let's take a really simple one. We have no Ex-Im Bank in the United States. Yes. All of your viewers should say out loud, we think exports should grow. That's why we've canceled our export bank. So I think that would be helpful to us, but we don't have time to sit and argue, each and every time that goes on. We still see good prospects on a global basis.